everybody, Excited Utterance here. My name's Hella, and we've been waiting a little while for this trial to happen. Actually, it wasn't that long. This happened in April last year, and it's not even been a year, so it must be a speedy trial. And I don't mean to make a pun out of that because this lady's kind of speedy. Marshella Chidester speeded into the Swan Boat Club in Michigan, Monroe County in Michigan, in April last year, and unfortunately she speeded into a children's birthday party. Yes, and she took out a bunch of people, including some little children, and two small children sadly, very, very sadly passed away, and she injured a bunch of other people. Marshella Chidester, I think she's in her 60s. She didn't look too well. She looked to be kind of intoxicated, although her defense attorney says that maybe she wasn't. Maybe she had a spasm of some sort. So, trial. We have a trial, guys. And I believe someone in chat might have been there for one of the days. Is Matka here? Is Matka here? Not yet. And hello. Hi. How are you?
Wonderful. How are you?
Oh my God. Is that Dolly?
It is.
It is. Welcome.
I know.
Yeah, we're not live on Twitter for some reason. Twitter didn't work.
Oh.
Let's see. Oh, well.
How else can we feel good about ourselves to have huge numbers?
Well, you know what's really weird? I've actually been talking to a couple of people who watch on Twitter.
Really?
And yeah. And it's like, are you going to be live on Twitter today? I'm like, really? You're watching Twitter?
I saw someone say that. I was like,
Really? Sorry, I thought all the Twitter people were ghosts. Didn't think they were real. Apologies. Apologies for that. Yeah, hoping for a song. Nah, not doing a song. This is going to be the last Marshella stream, so it's not really much point in me spending time making a song. Also, kind of, if you haven't noticed, there's not that many people interested in the Marshella stuff, except us.
Maybe if we had more time, but.
But I still wanted to run it. Because, like, we have been on this since it started, and actually, the trial was really interesting. Twitter people are not real. Look, most of them aren't real, but I have met a couple that are real. Like, I even talked to them in my DMs. And I'm not talking about bots.
No.
Yeah. And I know Dali likes to talk to the Twitter bots, but...
I do, actually.
Yeah. Oh, dear.
My name is Ilya.
That's the nature of my mind.
Marshella. All right, anyway, let's get into it, guys. So, the trial was last week. I think Mapka was there for days...
I think just one
3
day.
and 4, or was he only there for one day? Sadly, he wasn't there for the day that I really needed him to be there because the feed cut off right in a really important bit. And I'm like, what happened then? He goes, oh shit, I wasn't there for that. Damn it. Okay, let's get into it, guys. Let's do it. So we're going to watch the opening statements. They were quite short. And then we're going to watch some clips from some of the other bits. We're going to watch the defense attorney crying because, come on, how can we not watch that bit?
It was a very good cross-examination. I mean, he didn't ask any questions, but...
He did cry.
He was up there for a little bit.
Yeah, he was. All right, let's go. Let's get into it, guys. I'll put the speed up a little bit.
I thought he did a fantastic job.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of this guy.
Yeah, I know. Is Mofka here?
Where is he?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Someone paged Marco.
Last year, on April 20th, a young mother named Kristen Sigler threw a birthday party for her 3-year-old son, Stetson. Like many mothers, Kristen went all out for the party. She had a face painting station, a hot dog bar, entertainers, props and backdrops for photos, and even a bounce house outside of the park. Kristen has worked for several
And a
years
driving
at the
range.
Swan Boat Club, in Berlin Township, Newport, state of Michigan, right on Lake Erie. She used the club's event space to hold the party. The party started at noon, and by a little before 3 p.m., the party guests had just finished singing Happy Birthday to the guest of honor. By all accounts, it was a very successful party, it was well attended, and the kids there were taking advantage of all the attractions. However, at the same time, less than 2 football fields away, at her home, the defendant was leaving, pulling out onto Branchall Road. She was also headed to the boat club.
Yes, beautiful.
Both of these events are memorialized on camera. The party was captured on the Swan Boat Club security cameras, and the defendant on a home camera mounted above her
3
garage
days
building across the street. Mariah Dodds, a longtime friend of Kristen's, and her 3 children, Jaden, Zane, and Alana Phillips, had just sat down at a table to enjoy their lunch from the party's hot dog bar. As they were beginning their meal, the defendant backed out of her driveway, accelerated her car in an arc out of her driveway, crashing into a small tree and then into her neighbor's full-size pickup truck, forcing it through a wooden fence. The defendant then places her car in drive and speeds off toward the boat club, just 4 houses down. As Mariah grabs cake pops at the dessert station for her kids, the defendant barrels at full speed down Branchall Road and makes a right turn into the club parking lot.
Whoa! Okay, so hang on, wait. I hadn't seen that footage before. See that footage on the right? I hadn't seen that before. I'll show you it more close up later. But yeah, that like actually going right in from that direction. Nasty. Hang on, let's go back.
Down Branchall Road and makes a right turn into the club parking lot.
Hey, Patty.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ken Lorraine. I'm an assistant prosecutor for the County of Monroe. Along with my fellow assistant prosecutors, Christopher Marriott and Alexis Hatch, we will prove to you over the course of the next several days that defendant's actions in this case make her guilty of the charges of second-degree murder for Zane and Alana Phillips, OWI causing death for Zane and Alana Phillips, and OWI causing serious impairment of a body function for Zane and Alana's mom, Mariah, their brother, Jaden, and for Ed Smothers, Leah Stith, and Diane Medina. I don't particularly like long and winding opening statements. I like to give the jury what I would want if I were a juror. Wrote a table of contents to what the prosecution will present to you over the course of the trial. To simplify things for you folks, basically the way we're going to present this is you're going to hear from our witnesses in 4 groups. The first group will be guests and boat club members at the party. They'll talk about the party, they'll talk about the crash, and to some degree, they'll talk about what they saw of the defendant. Some of them will help us show you video of the crash and its aftermath. Some of them will simply tell you what they saw and what they remember, or what they don't remember, and they'll tell you what they went through. You'll not hear from all of them. By most accounts, there were some 80 people in and out of the party through the course of the day, and several others that just wandered over from the boat club proper after the crash. The second group you will hear from is the first responders, the captain of the Frenchtown Fire Department, and many members of the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. They arrived on scene shortly after the crash. They will give you more information about the crash, its results, and the steps they took to investigate it. Again, you won't hear from all of them. Law enforcement officers from at least 4 agencies were on scene, as were multiple fire departments, ambulance companies, and 2 life flight helicopters. You will hear the stories from the witnesses we call and see some of the footage from their body-worn cameras. Through that medium, you will also hear from the defendant. Next, we're going to call a group of witnesses that are necessary under the rules of evidence for you to hear about what was in the defendant's blood when she crashed her car. As I spoke about a little bit in voir dire, the rules of evidence are sometimes strict and not always straightforward, but they are important to ensure a fair trial both for the defendant and for the victims. Finally, you'll hear from some of the surviving victims, Mariah, Edward, Leah, and Diane. We'll tell you what they can remember from the crash, about their injuries, and somewhat about their road to recovery. Before I conclude, I want to speak just briefly about the jury instructions that the judge highlighted and give you a sense of what the people think you should be watching for over the course of the next few days. We can bring up the... You don't have to be able to entirely read this. You'll get it printed out at the end of the trial. But just roughly, as to the 5 counts 4 through 9, of OWI causing serious impairment of a body function. We have to prove that the defendant voluntarily operated her vehicle, that she did so in a parking lot or a place accessible to the general public, and that while she was operating it, she was either legally intoxicated, which is what we all hear about when we think of drunk driving, that she was a .08 or higher, or that she was under the influence of alcohol. In other words, I could think of a 90-pound, 25-year-old woman who I could give one glass of wine to. She could be at a .04, but just be drunk out of her mind. So it's not always just a .08. That's the legal limit. And we consider if you're over a .08, regardless of how you feel, you're legally intoxicated. But it is possible for you to find intoxication under a .08. Or we can prove that she was impaired by the consumption of alcohol and the consumption of an intoxicating substance called gabapentin. And that in doing this, in driving, after ingesting these substances, she caused a serious injury to one of those 5 victims. Similarly, the 2 counts of operating while intoxicated causing death, the deaths of Zane and Alana Phillips. The beginning part of the jury instruction is the same. We have to prove the operation, its voluntariness, its location, and its intoxication. But in this, we also have to prove that due to the operation, she was the factual and proximate cause of the death of these 2 children. As to the people's first 2 counts, the counts at the top of the complaint, 2 counts of murder in the 2nd degree, the people will prove that the defendant's actions caused the death of Zane and caused the death of Alana, and that she had one of 3 states of mind. That is to say, what was her legal intent? We must show that she intended to kill, or she intended to cause great bodily harm. In other words, she drove through the boat club wall intending to kill someone, or intending to seriously harm someone. Or the 3rd state of mind, that she knowingly created a very high risk of death or great bodily harm by her actions, knowing that death or great bodily harm was the likely result of what she did. Intent is what is in a person's mind when they commit an act. It's what they are thinking when they act. The jury instruction will tell you that you determine someone's intent from what they said, what they did, and how they did it. It will also tell you that you can use any other facts or circumstances in the case to determine a defendant's intent. These are some of the things to look out for over the course of the next few days. At the conclusion of the trial, I'm going to stand back up here again, and we're going to go over a lot of the evidence. And the people will contend that on behalf of the victims, and on behalf of the people of the state of Michigan, that you should find the defendant guilty of 2 counts of 2nd-degree murder, 2 counts of OWI causing death, and 5 counts of OWI causing serious impairment of a body function. Thank you, folks.
Thank you, Mr. White. Would you like to make your own statement now or later?
Now, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Hey. Mr. Clovis, step on up.
There's no question. This is very, very sad of what took place. Very
Bold
sad.
statements only on this channel.
There's nothing nice or near nice of the events that took place, and 2 children died, and people were
Nothing
injured.
near nice.
There's no. But what this case is about, bless you, what this case is about
Wants to be a judge.
is, was there an intent to kill someone? Was there an intent to be reckless?
I think this is David's
And I'll
dad.
come back at closing argument, we call it, where we get to talk to you one more time. So we don't talk to you at all during the case, but then we're allowed by the judge to do closing arguments, and we try to put it together. Certainly, I can tell you by, we look at the police reports and things like that, and we had 1 or 2 hearings. So we know a little bit of ahead of time. It's like sort of, I mean to make light of it, but sort of a little bit like the coming attractions on a movie, whatever. So that's
Coming
why we sometimes
attractions.
stand up there and we talk.
What?
It's not because we read
Pause.
minds. We have a good idea.
Dude.
Coming attractions. Oh, you're about to be treated to one hell of a
Jesus
unaliving
Christ.
trial of 2 children. Oh,
Dear
I bet you
me.
can't wait.
You really have to choose your analogies very carefully.
Just use what Johnny Cochran did. A roadmap, if you will.
Roadmap's good.
That's
Yeah.
yeah, don't say coming attractions.
Okay, so this dude here, some people say he's really slimy and stuff. I just think he's bumbling. That's the best way I would describe him. I don't think he's a bad guy at all. I just
No.
think he's got very little to work with, and he's stumbling through this trial.
I wonder if David knows anything about him.
I don't think he does. We've spoken to David, and he hasn't said he knows
That's
anything.
true.
Yeah.
Of the facts, at least how we interpret it. I, again, can't stress to you, and I'm very sincere, I can't stress to you how important this case is for everybody. It's for everybody. And for everybody to be able to move on. And I stand before you with a lot on my shoulders because I represent Marshella Chidester. She can't get up as a lawyer and do her case, okay? So I have a lot on my shoulders, and I welcome it. You know, I can pick and choose at this age which case I'm going to do.
So I choose this case.
She needed somebody to come forward.
Dude.
And sometimes, and I have a lot of respect for news organizations, certainly, but sometimes it's just a snapshot or a conclusion, or maybe near World War II yellow journalism or whatever, or something to do whatever.
Yellow
but
journalism?
This trial, all of you sit back, attentive. All of you are back, and you'll be able to listen to all the testimony. What an honor to serve on a jury to begin with in America, but to this magnitude. You can really, you're serving on a jury. You are doing a job that probably, if it was another case, I wouldn't look forward to. Because you're going to make a decision during these trial of credibility, who to believe, who not to believe, what makes sense, what doesn't make sense, and that's what I want you to do. That's what we want you to do. So the proofs, we believe, are going to show this. And I don't have to make an opening argument. I can waive it completely, wait till the defense goes on. But I choose to stand right up because the plaintiff, the prosecutor, made a good opening argument. He made a good argument.
Plaintiff.
The proofs, I believe, are going to show.
Is the plaintiff in the courtroom?
A little bit of Marshella Chidester through possibly people that are going to come in. That she was in the military at 18 years old.
Aww.
That she served 4 years in the Army, the real Army. I'm not talking about something up north, and I don't knock that at all. But
what?
She was
Were you
serving.
saying what?
She was serving.
Something up north. What's he mean?
Are you saying she tried to dodge the draft? Went to Canada?
Okay, I'm an Australian. Please explain what's something up north.
I think it was during the Vietnam War. It was a very controversial war in America. A lot of people did not believe in it, but we had the draft then. So a lot of people, to avoid being selected for the draft, or if they were selected for the draft, they'd flee to Canada, or they'd leave the country, so they wouldn't be, or they'd like shoot their pinky toe off or whatever.
Is he making this up as he goes along? Because he seems like because he goes, because she was in the real military, not like something up north. Not that I have anything wrong. Not there's anything wrong with that. Like like on Seinfeld.
I don't know, chat. Maybe I'm misunderstanding the reference, but given her age and
refugees to Canada,
yeah,
he picked what?
They ended up all being pardoned by Jimmy Carter for dodging the draft, but
dude, you are so far off topic.
I assume that's what he means.
You're going to get to know about her life through people, and that she's never been pulled over for a ticket in her life. She's a better driver than me. And she's never had a ticket to even get pulled over for in her 50-some years. We believe the proofs will show her credibility, and that's what this is. This case, like a lot of cases, are about credibility. And that she was an excellent
Sure, she
driver.
killed 2 children,
I believe
but
the
she never had a
proofs will
ticket
show,
before.
The proofs will show that she suffered from seizures and neuropathy. And it wasn't something, the proofs will show that it's just made up that day. She had been going through it, the proofs will show, for a long time, and was treated at U of M, Cornwell, Beaumont, whatever name it goes by today, on 4th Street in Trenton. There'll be proofs on this. And it also showed that it didn't happen all the way that she had these seizures all the time. It'd be pretty rare. But when she had one, it was not good. I think the proofs will show that when she has a seizure, documented, her feet go down, like real hard, the proofs will show, and her hands too. And then after less than a minute,
Her
the
feet
proofs
go
will show
down like I am.
that it
when it's
relaxes
closing.
again and you're a little bit spaced out. And for up to an hour. The proofs will show on our side of the table that when you see the videos, and normally I'm not nuts about videos, but when you see the videos that they believe will fully support, it'll support a
Yes.
vehicle being put to the floor from her house to go 450 feet. Put to the floor. Metal to the pedal to metal, whatever. Put to the floor. The proofs will show such that going on is out of character completely. Out of character completely. Something happened. And we believe the proofs will show, you keep an open mind, please, will show that's exactly what the proofs will show, that the feet go down. And you do, when I was growing up, it was called a hole spot. You punch it right to the floor. I never did that, but it was like drag racing when I was growing up. And just took off in a gravel place. And the cameras catch this vehicle just taking off and going right there. The proofs will show.
The poofs.
She won't drive that way. She's been driving a long time, 50, 55 years.
The poofs.
The proofs will show
Proofs.
that when this happened, and it's horrible,
Yeah, poofs means
that
something
the vehicle
else.
went
buddy.
in 25 feet into the building. Horrible as a birthday party. I've had children. I know.
Aw,
Couldn't imagine it.
I can't imagine.
The proofs will show
Making
that when
children
she
with
was
you.
honest with them, because you look for other evidence for credibility, corroborating evidence, the proofs will show
You all look
that
the
she said, they say, what's going on? Police arrived. That I had one glass of wine. Well, police hear that, I'm sure, a lot. I've only had one or two, and they get arrested for drunk driving. So where were you? At Verna's. And the police immediately do their job, which is wonderful. Here's a defense attorney telling you, great, you did a great job. They went down there, they masked it off, whatever, taped it off, whatever. It's a criminal place. You were there at lunch. You paid by credit card, debit card, whatever. They get it with a subpoena. They talk to the lady first that works there, Kelly Thornton. I subpoenaed her to be here for the trial. And she says that, I know, Marshella and Don, her husband, and there was another couple that was here, but Don wasn't here. She had one glass of wine, and she had some soup and a sandwich or fish or something. They get the subpoena, she does a copy of it. We'll have it as evidence. I'm not making it up. And it'll show.
Not making it up. Promise.
Exactly. So the proofs will show, I think, credibility-wise,
The poofs
exactly
will
what she said
show.
before anybody went anywhere. She said, I had a glass of wine. And the lady that comes in, the proofs will show, she didn't finish it. There was still some in it. And she packed it up, the food.
He's
and
going
put
through
her-
puberty, guys.
And she just lives not far at all from there.
There's still some in
I'm
it.
very happy the police moved on it right away, because so many people sometimes say, officer, I only had one or two drinks. The proofs will show it was less than one.
Okay, I've seen the testimony of this woman, the waitress, and she only had soup. She didn't have a sandwich or anything like that. She doesn't know actually
Yeah.
what else she drank. So, oops.
And the proofs will show that the officer asked her, what was her condition? It was fine. Okay. The proofs will show that
To make a point.
she has this neuropathy, and when she walks, I'm going to have her walk in front of you.
Ooh.
When she walks, the proofs will
Not a
show.
runway,
she
sir.
does this. Now, if I see somebody coming out of a Porsche or going to the car walking like this, I'm thinking somebody's, keep it clean, somebody's messed up. Okay? Somebody's been doing some drugs or alcohol. Unless you know the person from before. Never met him before, never met her before. She never gets pulled over, ever. So, here we go with a snap judgment. The proofs will show this person's got to be drunk out of their mind. So, the proofs will show that the accident happened, of course. And the officers came up to her, the proofs will show. We expect the proofs will show. Then when they came up, they started talking to her. This was right after the accident. Somebody got her out of the car and she was sitting there. I think she got like an American scarf flag or something, sitting there. She was a former Commodore. Never had any problems, ever. So the officers will talk, and they'll bring in some video on that, because we had a hearing, they showed some video on that. The proofs will show that they're talking to her. If anybody's been around with our life experiences, the proofs will show somebody's slurring, somebody's not looks a little drunk, even a little bit. The proofs will show that she's speaking probably better than me,
sir.
more clear than me. And that's up to you to see. I'm not making it up. The proofs will show that. Crystal clear. Now, she was just in a collision, had an attack, then went 25 feet into a building, and they're going to start interviewing her. The proofs will show that event, she talked about it's 1 glass of wine, truthful. And then they asked her,
take a drink every time he says the
on a score
proofs
of
will
1 to
show.
10, the proofs will show. How intoxicated are you? Well, she's
Thank God I quit
in
drinking.
another zone, going through a wall 25 miles an hour and having an attack. And then they ask her, well, are you able to drive? Well, hello. The proofs will
Hello.
show, am I able to drive? I just crashed into a building. So, the judge will, a lot of people say, don't leave your common sense out there when you're serving as a jury. You've got life experiences. Keep that with you. Don't let that out. Don't be sterile. You can bring life experiences in. You just can't make up your mind until all the proofs are in one way or another and deliberate and respect each other. The proofs will show that it's almost like an immediate conclusion on the police department, and I have great respect for the police.
Aw.
I have relatives, police.
Aw.
The proofs will show that they got a search warrant and wanted to get blood from her. She had no problem if you want to do a blow breathalyzer or whatever. They didn't ask her. We want to do blood. And she even signed a consent form. Didn't even need whatever. She's not hiding anything. There's nothing to hide. Then they took the blood. They had it tested. We're going to get into all that. Not right now, of course, because I'm trying to somewhat keep it short.
Not right
But
now.
there's a lot that's going to be covered because this didn't happen in a minute. It was a lot longer than a minute. It's been a year.
Oh,
And this
technically
trial's going to
happened
be a
in
few
a
days
second.
long. So that's why I wanted to jump in and let you know at least where the defense is coming from, so you can have it in the back of your mind and say, hopefully Mr. Clovis, Bill Clovis, let's see what he's talking about. Will this go together, like he says? I feel very confident. I'm not going to over feel confident, but I feel confident that the proofs will show what I just said, what I've represented to you.
Dude.
I'm pretty strong on my representations, or else I don't make it. The proofs will show that she always was cooperative. She was always crystal clear. The proofs will show that when they asked her to do a sobriety test of the alphabet, I'm talking about at the scene, she was able to do the alphabet. Perfect. No swearing. Perfect. Not skip anything, not say double, not miss it, not end early. That's another something to look at. Is that somebody, if you're going to say that they're so heavily intoxicated, and people don't know where they're at, what day it is, or what time. This person's saying the alphabet, talking almost like you and I. These are things I want you to keep in mind. Why am I hitting this so hard? And I'm sure the judge is looking at me right now, with all due respect, saying you're taking a long time. Because I got 2 counts of murder, too, on my client. That's why. It's called capital offense.
Yeah,
This isn't
yeah.
playing a little game. 2 counts of capital murder. Murder 2. And all the other offenses. That's why. And I've taken it very personal. Because I want to see what's done right. And I respect
guy
each
looks
and
like he
every
takes
one
a
of you,
lot
especially when
personal.
you're watching this. And it's a long time to be trapped in a seat that's not comfortable. And we appreciate it. We thank you in advance. Please wait till all the evidence is in. They get to go first. I bite my lip, like I said earlier, till we get to put up any proofs. Please don't do a
Maybe he's saying
knee-jerk
he's gonna
reaction.
poofs?
And
He's going to put up
wait till all
some
the proofs
gay
are in.
people?
Thank you very
It's
much.
kind of offensive, dude.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. First
Call your
witness.
witnesses
Thank you,
gay.
He's gone. What was the final count, guys? 44? Oh, you did a great job. All right, we're going to watch a bit of the first witness. Now, the first witness, she's the one who held the party. I bet she's feeling great. Look at the length of her hair.
Defendant was a real killjoy. Oh, wait, I didn't mean it like that. Sorry.
Ma'am, right this way.
Pleasure stuff there.
Thank you. She was running late.
If you would state your name, spell your last name, please.
Kristen Sigler, first name
didn't mean it like that.
K-R-I-S-T-Y-N, last name Sigler, S-I-G-L-E-R.
Thank you. Mr. Warren.
Thank you, Judge. Ms. Ziegler, how do you know about the Swan Boat Club?
I worked there since about 2018. My sister is also a member there.
In what capacity did you work there?
I was one of the head bartenders for about 5 years. It was a seasonal job, so in the slower months, we didn't work as
Everyone,
much, but
like,
in
has something to do with
summer,
this
it's
boat
a full-time
club.
job again.
Through that end, did you plan a birthday for your party, or a birthday party for your son at the boat club?
I did. His third birthday, I rented the pavilion area.
And when you say the pavilion, what does that include?
So there's a main building, which is the boat club and bar, and then there's what we call a breezeway, which is basically like a garage door entryway to another building that private parties are hosted or other functions.
And do you refer to the building as the pavilion or the area out back as the pavilion?
The building itself.
Ms. Sigler, I'm just going to show you this just to make life easier. It could be on there too, but just so you've seen it. Oh, yeah. Does this look familiar?
Yes.
What is this property?
The parking lot area and the pavilion of the boat club.
Okay. This has been marked as People's 9K. Ms. Sigler, is this a fair and accurate representation of an overhead view of the property where you worked for some 6 years?
Yes.
Okay. People would move for the admission of 9K.
Response, no objection. People's 9K is admitted.
And I'm just going to leave this here for the jury to have something to understand
Can we
when
see
you're
it?
talking about locations and things like that. Could we bring 9K up?
Would you like to show the rest of the class, sir?
Yeah.
So, Ms. Sigler, when you say the pavilion, can you see that okay? Or should I hold the...
Oh, no, I can see that.
So the dirt area, is that the Swan Club parking lot?
Yes.
And then the two buildings right there on the water.
So one on the right with like a slide and playground area behind it is the pavilion, and the area to the left is the main building.
And when you reference a breezeway, what structure are you referring to?
It's kind of hard to see, but where that little white door is in between, there's like a connecting.
So
part
the
of
small
buildings.
structure that connects the two buildings?
Yes.
So you rented the building on the right for your son's birthday party?
Yes.
And that was on
The whole
April
thing.
20th, 2024?
Yes.
And that was in Berlin Township, Newport, state of Michigan?
Yes.
What time was the party scheduled to begin?
It was from 1 to 4.
How many guests were invited?
Around 70.
How many turned out?
At least 50. Some people came a little bit earlier and had to leave. Some people came a little bit later.
Jesus Christ.
Are you familiar with Mariah Dodds?
Yes, I am.
How are you familiar with her?
We have been best friends since we were 5.
Okay. Are you familiar with her children?
Yes, they're my godchildren.
Oh.
Was Mariah invited to the party?
Yes, she was.
How about her children?
Yes.
Do you recall what time they arrived?
I think it was a little after 2 because they were running late.
Oh.
What about Ed Smothers? Are you familiar with him?
Yes, that's
Oh.
Mariah's nephew. I also, knowing them since I was 5,
Okay.
I just consider him one of my nephews. He's not blood though.
And how about Diane Medina?
She's a friend.
Okay. Is she also a member of the Swan Boat Club?
She is a member of the Swan Club.
Okay. And how about Leah Stiff?
That is my niece,
Okay. Your blood niece?
my sister's stepdaughter.
Okay. So the party began at 1. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And Mariah and her children arrive around 2 p.m. Is that correct?
Yep.
So you have to answer yes.
I'm sorry,
or no.
yes.
And you can't just nod your head because they're recording it.
Okay.
I know it's hard, but, okay?
Yeah.
Thank you. So approaching 3 a.m. or 3 p.m., what was happening at the party?
We had just got done singing happy birthday. It was around 2:40, 2:45. We sang happy birthday. And the entertainers were going to be leaving, so I told everybody just to continue to play, and that there were little cake pops instead of real cake, so just grab one of those and continue playing. I didn't really have a sit-down dinner, you know, it was just kind of buffet style, eat as you go. So we had just got done singing happy birthday, and everybody was just back to enjoying the party.
Okay. And did you go outside at some point on the phone?
I did. I received a phone call from my friend Amy because her children and her husband were there, but she couldn't make it. So I was FaceTiming her just to show her everything and
What did
catch up with
she
her for a
know?
minute.
Okay. Did anything out of the ordinary happen then?
Yeah, there was very loud, what sounded like a bomb.
Oh, she was outside.
I was right by the door, so ran in, and it looked like a bomb at that point. I didn't
A
know what
bomb.
happened. There was just
There's thermite paint on the
my
walls.
son and his cousins right in the doorway. And so I got them outside, and there was just debris everywhere.
Was there dust in the air? Was it hard to see?
Yes, there was a lot of dust still floating around. Some lights were flashing.
After you got your son and the other children outside, what did you do then?
I went back in and found Diane Medina and my niece Leah on the ground. So I started picking the debris up off of them and trying to help with them.
What happened then?
Then I seen one of the little girls got put on top of the bar because she was thrown behind it. And so I got her off the bar and set her down next to somebody that she knew. And then I seen Marshella coming around the side of her car.
Well, let's hold on and back up. So where are the little girl and Diane and Leah? Where are they in relationship to the vehicle?
The vehicle was pushed all the way in front of them, so when I came in the back door, immediately Leah was on the ground, then Diane Medina. The car was shoved up, and the little girl, after I started pulling stuff off, she got set on top of the bar, like right in front of me, kind of, so I took her off.
And so at this time, you're inside the event space. What is the tenor inside? What's it like? Is it completely silent? Is
Oh, no. There was screaming, yelling. I accidentally stepped on Diane when I was trying to help her, so we were trying to maneuver around people without hurting them. Yeah, it was just chaos.
So you indicated at one point you saw the defendant.
Yes.
Did you know the defendant prior to this?
Yes.
How did you know her?
She comes into the Swan Boat Club where I worked.
Okay. Do you see the defendant in the courtroom here today?
I do.
Could you point her out for the jury? And
Record should reflect the witnesses identified the defendant.
thank you, Judge. After you saw the defendant, what happened?
I went over to her, was kind of already right there, so I was at the back of her car. She was being walked around the back of her car, and I grabbed her. And then I realized that it was a car that was in front of me, because before I didn't realize it was a car, I just seen a big mess.
Oh.
And so when we got to the back of her car, I grabbed her and
Where's
I started
that
yelling
come
at her. And somebody yelled, "There's a kid under the car."
Oh.
So I told her to pop her trunk so we could get a jack. She popped the trunk. I started looking for the jack. She came like kind of back over towards me. I grabbed her again and was yelling at her kind of close to her face, and she said, "Tweety, where's Don?" Which Tweety is my nickname, and Don is her husband. So at that point, her talking to me, I get smell alcohol on her. I kind of realized like she just drove her car into the building. So at that point, I told her just to get the F away from me, and I threw her down.
Okay.
Oh.
You testified just a moment ago that at some point people started yelling, "There's a kid under the car." What did you do as it related to that?
Well, I looked for the jack for a minute, and a bunch of the guys that were at the party grabbed 2x4s or 2x6s that were on the ground and just said, "On the count of 3, we're gonna lift. We need you to go under." So once they lifted, I seen Zane. He was underneath the driver's side wheel well of the car, and he was reaching out. So when they lifted, I got underneath it and pulled him out. And it felt like for 5 minutes, but it was just a few seconds. I put him on my lap, and the back of his head was bleeding. And his arm was just kind of limp and all bloody. And he had blood on his shirt and his face. But I asked him if he knew who he was, and he said, "Yeah, Z." And I said, "You know who I am?" He said, "Yes, God, Mom." And then somebody yelled, "Tweety, there's another." So I handed Zane to my sister and tried to go back under for Alana. But I couldn't reach her, and the car started slipping, so they told me to come back out.
Oh, God.
And what did you do then, Kristen?
I had followed behind my sister. She was carrying Zane outside, and I followed behind her and told her just to keep talking to him, and then I had to go try to get Alana from the other side, which was the breezeway.
And what did you see when you got to the breezeway?
In the door frame, Alana was wedged in between it. But she was already gone. She was blue and
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And Edward, which is her cousin, was laying in front of her, and her mom was laid up against the wall a few feet away from them.
Holy.
So what did you do then while you were in the breezeway?
I tried to shield Mariah from seeing Alana, and I made eye contact with Edward and told him just to keep looking straight. I told Mariah to keep looking straight. And then the sirens, I could hear the sirens, so I told them that I had to go get help. And both of them asked me not to leave them, but I knew that I needed first responders, I needed somebody. So I ran out, and the first EMS worker stopped right in front of Zane and my sister and started helping with him, and then I directed him to where Mariah was, but then they wouldn't let me in either area anymore.
So that was kind of all you saw of what went on that day, at least firsthand. All right. I don't have any further questions for this witness.
Cross. All right, this witness speaks against.
No.
Good
First
idea.
smart-
Leave
first
her
smart
alone.
thing he
You asked
did.
her to remain as a potential rebuttal witness.
All right,
So she's free to leave for today.
But you can't use.
Oh, but she's a rebuttal witness. Okay.
Yeah, he keeps them for rebuttal. But I don't think he uses them. Thank God. All right. Did you want to show us something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Trenton, thank you for letting us know.
Mm.
Wait, what's going on? There we go. So we have the Swan Boat Club website. You got like the Swan Boat Club food menu. It looks like a pretty nice place.
What the hell is that?
Oh, they got some sloppy joes coming up.
Okay.
Friendly reminder. Oh, they got a board meeting tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
So that's always nice.
Mm-hmm.
Chili Dog Night is Thursday.
You weren't
All
kidding.
right. Not to be confused with 2 for $5 at Stoney's in
Yes.
Rockville, Minnesota. Let's see. You got their officers or you got members only?
Wow.
Dues and
Oh,
docking.
look. Is that all the Commodores?
Yeah.
She would have been on that list.
Oh,
What is that?
Commodore. Oh, those are the emails for them.
So she was a Commodore for them.
Yeah, I'm
Like
guessing.
whatever
they,
that means.
I'm guessing they removed her from the website by now.
You would think.
I would, yeah.
Okay. Anyway, well, they seem to have gotten back to normal.
Oh, the clubhouse features a bar and grill that features, among other items, burgers, grilled chicken sandwiches, fish sandwiches, and Reuben sandwiches. That's nice.
Yeah.
Oh, they got rib dinners cooked by our past Commodores. Well, there you go.
It does look like a really nice place. I wonder if they have done something about, like, you know, like they were talking about in pre-trial about how, you know, the defense was saying that there should be some sort of barrier to the main road.
So this happened, what, April of 24?
April last year. Yeah.
Um,
There's a pool table as well.
so they kind of, okay, so I guess it happened after 4/7. So they took a, kind of went away, but they came back with Kids Fishing Day in June.
Cool.
And then the fishing tournament in June 15th. So that's nice.
Yep. All right, moving on. So, now, unfortunately,
Oh, we got
Well,
drag queen bingo, so.
Michigan.
I wonder if Marshella's in any of these pictures.
I don't. I would think she's not. I would think they would have done something to remove her. Now, we're not going to watch the mother of the children who died be questioned because that's just really, really sad. But we're going to watch the end of her
Poof?
her direct,
Oh.
and then we're going to watch what happened when the defense attorney comes to do her cross. Because this is the big moment, guys. Ready? Oh, hang on. There's the poor little children. Cute, huh?
One moment.
The best part. This is it.
Very sorry. I'm sorry for your loss. I lost my son in September. He died peacefully at home. He was older. And every time I work on your case, I think you. And I think of your children. You have my deepest sympathy. And I'm human. I might be a defense attorney, but I'm human. And you seem like a much stronger person than me.
It's hard.
My prayers are with you and your family. I wish you the best. People keep telling me God has a plan. I guess that's what we gotta do. So I just wanted to come out of here for a minute and tell you true heartfelt that I feel very bad for you and your family. It's a club you don't want to belong to. And I don't have any questions for you. You've gone through enough in life. But
Judge, people appreciate
I'm
this
done.
Lotus
I'm done.
sentiment.
Okay, thank you very much.
May she excuse. This is going great.
She's like, I'm paying you for this?
Hey, Bill, would you come up for a second, please?
My God, look. What just happened?
I mean, that could be ineffective assistance right there, but
Yeah,
I'm kidding, but
My attorney cried. My attorney cried on cross-examination.
I mean,
What?
And he mentions it in closing as well.
Oh, yeah. Do we know if he's even a licensed attorney? Do we have proofs? Show us the proofs.
Oh crap!
Okay, so he reckons that he had a child die late last year, and he was older or something. And every time I work on your case, I think of you, and my heart goes out to you. And it's a club you don't want to be part of. And oh God, he went on. And I swear, if the prosecutor hadn't have said something, he would have kept going on.
Oh yeah, but
Yeah.
Yeah, it was so cringe.
This is a mistrial, or should have been. I mean, I feel awful for the parents. It's gut wrenching, but still, time and place. So yeah. I'm surprised that someone didn't speak up sooner. Shouldn't the judge have,
Same.
like, yeah, the judge should have interrupted him.
I'm guessing the judge assumed he was going to get to some questions.
Yeah.
So, like, okay, he's talking a little bit. But the fact that he had no questions is what's kind of like...
Didn't he say, I'm not going to ask you any questions, right?
Yeah,
At the
no, at
beginning,
the
though?
end. It was right at the end.
Oh, he said it at the end, right.
Yeah. And
Yeah. That was so weird. I've never seen anything like that before. What's this?
he mentions this little bit in closing.
All right, show this.
Sit there. This case, I don't have to tell you, it's very, it's very sad. It's very, very sad. And the facts of 2 children passing away, as the prosecutor said, in a setting like this, is just beyond grief. And that's why I took a moment out, maybe took my attorney jacket off, so to speak, and really gave sympathy to Mom. Gave sympathy to all of them. I don't want to get anybody hurt. I don't have vindictiveness. My client doesn't. And I gave my sympathy. And it's normally out of line to do that. And I'm glad the judge and prosecutor allowed me for a minute to do that.
They didn't allow you.
I just had to get that off my
You-
chest.
you didn't get
myself,
permission
because I
to
can't
do
talk
that.
to the witnesses here when we're in court. And they don't have to talk to me at all.
Okay, let's go back.
It's very, very sad. And,
Yeah.
you know, I'm taking...
All right.
That, I just love that, how he's like, oh, well, they just gave me permission to do that. It's like,
Yeah, no, they didn't give you permission at all. Like, they got you. No one gave you permission, and you're not allowed to take your attorney jacket off at all,
no.
right? Like, no one said you could do that. The state should have objected then at that point too. There should have been an objection. They were stunned. Hey, Deebs, how's it going?
Yeah, I'm sure they were.
Yeah, everyone was just like, what? What's going on?
And they just kept assuming the next words would be a question, and
Yeah,
they just kept going.
yeah. Okay, so mother's testimony. All right, so next bit. What are we going to go to next? All right, so excuse me for a sec while I just work out what we're doing next. Okay, we might just watch a little court TV clip so we can get our bearings. Just a
And
minute.
Patty, couldn't he have told her this not in a court setting? Well, it's first of all, he wanted, I'm sure, to do this in front of the jury to try to appear sympathetic. He didn't, and I know the Mavka, who isn't here right now, which, come on,
It's
Mavka.
odd considering that Mapka's been like, when are we doing this?
I know. But he was there that day, and he told me that the court reporter, that redhead, was kind of like, what the hell? And the family was livid. They were talking about it, and he overheard them in the parking lot, and they were pissed. As far as talking to her not in a court setting, they don't have depositions in Michigan for criminal trials, so it was probably his first time being able to talk with her, unless she would have met with him beforehand, and I doubt it.
Yeah. I don't know why it was necessary, honestly.
No,
Leave it till after the trial if you must.
it looked
You
bad.
know. Yeah.
Recording as well around the time of the crash?
Yes,
And you provided a copy of that to law enforcement as well?
I did.
At this time, Judge, the people are moved to admit Exhibits 1 and 2, that is the cell phone recording and the home surveillance video recording of Mr. Schmidt.
Response. I haven't seen a client. He said they wanted to stipulate to a report. I don't know what, I mean, are you gonna play it?
I can proffer him, Judge, yes, I was intending to anyway.
Okay.
Okay.
I was gonna hold off for that, Judge, until they play the identifier.
Please play exhibit 1.
Okay.
Boom.
Mr. Schmidt, that is your home surveillance camera?
Yes, it is.
All right, people would again move to admit exhibit 1, Judge.
No objection. People's one is admitted.
Provide a copy of that to the court. Please play exhibit 2.
She turned on the hazard lights.
That she's sitting there, right?
Yeah, I
Like,
think that's her.
but there she is. She's sitting there.
Bottom, middle, bottom
Hang on.
left.
Hang on. There she is. There she is. You see?
Mr. Schmidt, is that the cell phone video you referred to?
Yes.
No, that's not her.
People move to admit exhibit
back.
2.
No objection.
Hang on.
Place 2 is admitted.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. I'm on court TV feed. I have to go back this way. Okay, so that's her
Keep going.
there.
No, keep going.
People
Keep going
move to
back.
admit.
That's not her.
That is her.
No, keep going.
That's her sitting
Keep
down.
going. Keep going. Stop.
That's her sitting down.
No, that's her on the
Down.
ground.
No, that's her there.
What about the woman on the ground there?
That is Marshella there.
Okay, if you say so.
It is absolutely, because if we see her later, you'll see her at in the police car. She's got that same hoodie on.
Okay.
Because people were talking online about how the fact she was just sitting there, like while everyone else is cleaning up, she was just sitting on a chair.
Okay. Not the
Yeah.
floor. Okay.
No, you wrong. RONG, wrong. Hella is right.
Don't tell her that.
Mr. Schmidt, is that the cell phone video you referred to?
Yes.
People move to admit exhibit 2.
No objection. Place 2 is admitted.
Mr. Schmidt, do you see Marshella in the courtroom today?
I do.
Can you please point to her and describe what she's wearing?
She's right there.
The record should reflect the defendant, or I'm sorry, the witness identified the defendant.
I have no further questions, Judge. Thank you.
Cross? I don't have any. All right. This witness be excused.
Yeah.
Totally excused.
For the people, Judge, yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next witness.
Judge, people call Jason Johnson.
She's like, oh, that looks really bad.
So we're getting ready for the next witness. Let's go back to that cell phone video where you see the aftermath and you see how it looks like a war zone. And when you look at it, something you may not notice, I have to confess, I didn't notice it right away until my wonderful senior producer, Eric Goldson, pointed it out.
No, she smashed through
Marshella
a wall.
Chidester is sitting there. She's sitting on a chair in
on
that
a
room
chair.
watching as everybody is panicked and trying to rescue the child underneath the car. Everyone is running around panicked, not knowing what to do after this horrific event. And she is sitting there. She's sitting in a chair. We'll show the other angle, and you can see she's seated and her scarf is around her neck. See her right there? She has the black jacket on, looks like a blue scarf with stars or something on it. There she is. She just put her hands up right to the right bottom of your screen.
Oh, yeah.
And look at everyone else. Panicked. And when they notice there's a child under the car, you see everybody lifting to get the child out from underneath the car. Zane and Alana Phillips are the two deceased victims. Little Alana was 8, Zane was 4. 15 people were also injured because of this event. I tell you what, that video, it is hard to watch. And the witness on the stand moments ago said it looked like a war zone, and he was right. Just look at it. Look at the damage caused in just a few split seconds.
She doesn't look too happy.
We have the next to hear more.
She's just sitting there.
Jason Johnson, Johnsson.
Hey, what do you want her to do? Drive out?
Good afternoon, Mr. Johnson.
Afternoon.
Mr. Johnson, could you tell the jury what your affiliation with the Swan Boat Club is?
Longtime member of Swan.
Okay. How long?
Over 20 years.
Okay. Were you formerly in a leadership position at the Swan Boat Club? What was the name of that position?
Rear Commodore.
So what does a Commodore and a Rear Commodore do at the Swan Boat Club?
Commodore oversees the entire club. The rear manages the club itself.
The physical
Maintenance, bar.
The physical building.
Correct.
Are you familiar with the club itself and the surrounding area?
Yes, I am.
Are you a resident of the surrounding area?
I am.
How long have you lived there?
I believe 7 years now.
So this is an area right off of Lake Erie, is that correct?
Correct.
What is the nature of the neighborhood and the roads and things like that?
Country road, gravel, private, so it's maintained by the residents and Fish and Wildlife.
Okay. What's your understanding of what the speed limit is on those roads?
County says it's 25, Fish and Wildlife says it's 15.
Okay. How is it to drive on those roads?
It's a little rough.
Okay. Do you have to use care and caution?
Yes.
How fast would you say it's safe to drive on those roads?
Under 20 for sure.
Okay. I don't know whether this is going to be interesting or not, so we'll just go through and see. What's he got? Is he going to show us any video? Doesn't look like it.
Sweet.
All right. So, oh no, not you, not you, not you. Don't care about you. Let's try just a minute. Oops, sorry. Okay, so next we'll have a look at the we got some new footage from behind the bar. So I've never seen this before. Okay. Hang on, we have footage that came in via somebody. Not sure who. This is on Fox 2 Detroit. So, President, share, go. Alrighty. And we'll change views. We don't need this anymore because of the fact that we don't have all the court TV garbage up on screen. Alright, so, who is testifying? Let's just check. Oh, it is the same guy. But court TV wasn't going to show it to us, so cool. All right.
That, as you were making the copies?
Yes.
So, Judge, at this time, people would move to admit People's 3A, B, and C, which are clips of surveillance video from the 3 cameras we've spoken about at the Swan Boat Club at the time of the crash.
They haven't been shown yet, correct?
So the way I do an exhibit, and the way I ask Mr. Marriott and Ms. Hatch to, is offer it, get it admitted, and then proffer it. Because if we proffer it and it's not admitted, the cat's kind of out of the bag.
The cat's not out of the bag.
You're doing, but just go ahead and show it, Mr. Swan.
Fair. If we could play 3A.
Boom. Wow. Yeah, she was actually invited to the party. That's the weird thing about it. Like, she was an invited guest to the party.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
she knew
just-
these people.
yeah.
Yeah, we didn't realize this until about a few months after we started covering this, that she was actually supposed to be there.
I mean, she did get there.
Yeah. Yes, I do have that video, Patty.
You do? Okay. I found it
I do.
earlier, but lost it.
That's the mum. The mum's beautiful. Oh, hang on, that can't be the mum.
Finally.
That can't be the
you're
mum because she was hurt. Mavka's here finally. The thing about it is, right, she lives literally like a few hundred, you guys call it yards, down the road, right? She could have stumbled over there.
Oh, yeah. It's like a quarter mile, maybe.
A quarter mile, yeah. Yeah? So, legit, she did not have to drive there.
No.
No. She did not have to drive there. 500 feet, Mavka, yeah. She lived, well, absolutely close enough to walk.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, Kylie. Actually, whilst it's quiet, Dolly, do you want to tell people about the whole doctor thing?
Yeah, her doctor was providing extra curricular services that did not really go with his ethical obligations, one might say. He was a little bit of a pill freak. He liked to dispense the painkiller medication without doing a very thorough examination. And he ended up getting arrested and charged, and she wanted to call her doctor as a witness, but the judge wouldn't delay the trial. So his trial is supposed to go in a month or two, but he has a Fifth Amendment right not to testify. So, which I thought was kind of unfair to her, but...
He's running a pill mill.
Yeah.
Yeah, she does have a husband, I believe, doesn't she?
Yeah.
So, I don't know whether he was living there with her or what.
People move for the admission of 3A. Response.
No, Judge. 3A is admitted. People ask to publish 3B. Go ahead.
Okay, I've
Mr.
never
Johnson,
seen this
is
before. This is
interior
brand new to
of
me.
that space?
Correct.
Oh.
He was too drunk to drive, just.
So that's where all the alcohol they smelled came from.
Oh.
That's what they were trying to insinuate.
Yeah, this is real crash footage. Beautiful. Watch this. Whoa!
Oh yeah!
What?
Kool-Aid guy knows how to make an entrance.
Jesus Christ.
Well, okay, in her defense, no wonder they were smelling a bunch of alcohol. The car hit the freaking bar. I'm just saying, I'm not, oh, she reeked of alcohol. Well, she just hit a freaking bar.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, of course,
That
if her...
was wild.
Yeah, can we see that again?
Yeah.
Like, her lawyer should have been bringing that stuff up.
Boom!
Oh. As a former alcoholic,
You got all the excuses ready to go, don't you?
yeah. Well, now I just hate to see all that good alcohol go to waste.
That is nuts. I just can't believe, how easily she plowed through that wall.
Well, it was probably just like tin. Who makes this car? I mean, that'd be a good ad.
The car is tough.
Very sturdy.
Ah. What is it exactly?
Hopefully not a Tesla. Elon Musk has enough bad publicity at the moment.
Jesus. She was just sitting there.
Narcissist.
I really, really don't like Julie Grant. Even though, I'm totally on the state side in this one.
Yeah.
I really don't like Julie Grant.
Oh, it was a black Ford Edge. Okay.
Mm.
Is he going to get a beer? Oh.
Aww.
Look at all the White Claws that were wasted.
What is a White Claw? Is it beer?
It's a seltzer, like a fruity carbonated drink with alcohol in it. Very mild and low calorie.
Oh, it's low calorie. Okay.
College
Not too
kids
sugary.
drink them. Yeah.
The kids will, yeah, everyone will. Especially the older kids. Younger kids don't tend to remember stuff.
Yeah. I'm sure I've blocked out a few memories.
Yeah. Carbonated wine cooler.
Or tonic water.
Gross. Okay. Let's see if we can scroll through this a little bit. Scroll. Oh, we got another exhibit.
3B
What's
is
this?
submitted.
And I would ask to publish 3C.
Go ahead.
Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh no. Whoa. Oh no, there's a person down there. Ick. Oh. Is that a kid? Wasn't the mom's hips broken? Like she had a fractured pelvis or something? Like the mum nearly died, didn't she? Wasn't she unconscious for a couple of days? He just had to step away for a second. Do you guys think she has ineffective assistance of counsel? Look, that's a really difficult hurdle to get past. We've had attorneys on here before assess appeals based on ineffective assistance of counsel, and the general consensus has been from them that it's the most common thing that defendants use for appeal, and it's a very tricky one. There needs to be something or a few things that are very specific that the attorney didn't do, and that had to have material impact on how the trial would have gone. So, therefore, the jury would have made a different decision because of something that that attorney did not do or that they did incorrectly. So it's, I mean, obviously that's why appeals are granted, because the jury would have done something differently. But for it to be because an attorney did something wrong or didn't do something, it's a hard one to prove. And yeah, it's the most common thing that that defendants choose to use as an appellate point. I lost, therefore I'll say I didn't like my attorney. He didn't do the right thing. I mean, I feel like just because he's bumbling and he's said a few things out of turn, I don't think that makes him ineffective. He's trying everything he can with a very poor set of facts. So, and the fact that he went and said something, and he said something that was going to he said something and took his attorney jacket off. I don't know if that would have changed the jury's mind. I don't think that an appellate court would look at that and go, would that have changed the jury's mind? Would they have made a different decision based on that? Appellate courts just love to go harmless error. It's an error, but is it a harmless? Would it have made any difference? No, it's harmless error. So I don't think. I mean, she could try, but I don't think that they'd buy that. The biggest appeal issue wasn't streamed. Ah.
3C is admitted.
Right.
Mr. Johnson, just to further orient the jury, the door that you could see in the foreground of that last video, could you explain what that is in relationship to the boat club itself and the event space?
It's a breezeway between the pavilion and the main bar, and it runs the same direction as that camera in the bar. The line of view is so down towards the main club.
All right. And so that's the main access to the pavilion or the event
Correct.
space? Correct. And the Swan Boat Club, located in Berlin Township, Newport, Michigan, state of Michigan?
Correct.
No further questions for this witness, Joe.
Yes, thank you. Sir, you're in charge of maintaining the parking lot roadway.
Correct.
Didn't work.
So when it's not in good shape, you're the one responsible to take care of it.
Was it in good shape at the time?
When it's not in good shape, you're the one responsible to take care of it.
Correct.
Thank you. I don't have any other questions.
Any redirect? Not on that issue. May this witness be excused?
From the people, yes.
Thank you. You may
Thank you.
Next witness.
Okay. Right. Now, I want to move on to some testimony about her blood alcohol. Was it blood alcohol? What's C? Because it's something different here. Her BAC. So now this really was, as far as the defense was concerned, this was going to be their golden goose. So the defense had this idea that when the medic took the blood from Miss Chidester, that they didn't invert the tube properly. Now, there's some solution in the bottom of the tube that interacts with the blood to preserve it. And his take on it was that it didn't get inverted properly, and that can make it so that it's a much higher reading. Once it gets over to the lab, it ends up with a much higher reading than it would have done if it were inverted properly. And so he is going to question this witness as to whether or not it was inverted properly. Then something really weird happened with the feed, and I don't know why we didn't get to see it correctly. BAC, blood alcohol content, right? We have a different term for it here. Okay, so do you have any previous did she have any previous drunk driving charges? No, apparently she's never even had a ticket. She's a better driver than him. What she said. Okay, so let's have a look. BAC testimony.
That just walked me in, Shield. I'm not recalling nobody's
That's
name.
okay. Take your time. I wasn't there. We weren't there, and I just wanted to find out how you made
A
your way.
male, the officer said something, the male, came up the elevator
Okay,
with
so
him,
that's her on
and so he can direct me where I'm
cross.
supposed to go.
Okay, and then you talked to a person you believe is named Michelle?
I believe so, I believe
Okay, so that's the medic. Let's just see. I'm gonna just go back a little bit. Let's see if I can see it on direct. They show some video of her.
The back container is the back needle. You know, it's just a
It goes
needle
right into
to the arm.
You said you used a tourniquet, some gauze. What's the item called
The back container is the back needle. You know, it's just a needle.
It goes right into
the arm.
Okay.
Into the vein, is what yes, into the vein.
Okay.
You put the tube onto the
We need to
vacuum,
find that
put it
cut.
in and blood pulls out. It's a pre-vacuum tube.
That piece of equipment, in this case, was that sterile?
Yes,
How
comes
do you
out of a
know?
package. you open a package every time. If anything's open, we discard it. You know, so yes, it comes out of a package too.
Who is this witness? She is the medic who took the
Before I
blood
draw, I
from
take the
Marshella.
lid off of the actual needle. And that's not until I'm ready to actually draw the patient.
Okay. So that's a sterile instrument that comes out of a sealed package?
Correct.
And that's what happened in this case?
Yes.
And you already said you cleaned the I'm going to say it wrong.
The patient's arm.
Yeah, with iodine.
Yeah, but the location that I was going to draw it correct.
She's going to be a little bit sassy when it gets to defense because
set up the patient for the draw. What do you do?
His theory is that she didn't invert it properly.
Okay. And then what?
Yep, feel for the vein. Once I know, I wipe her arm, wipe the patient's arm in this, and then I draw the blood. Put the needle in, put the tube on, and the blood pulls out.
What do you mean by pulls out?
It sucks. It's a pre-vacuum tube, so it sucks into a needle.
So in other words, you've got the contraption set up on the arm. It's a tube with a vacuum in it.
Yes, the tube is correct.
And so when you place the tube on the needle,
I don't know about that.
It shoots into the.
It just fills.
Yes.
And did that happen in this case?
Yes.
You put the tube on the needle and it just filled?
Yes, it fills up, correct.
What does that tell you about the vacuum?
That is a seal. Nothing's broken. There's no fault in neither the needle or the tube itself.
So if you put a tube on there and it didn't fill, what would that tell you?
It means it's not vacuumed.
Would you use that
I wouldn't
tube?
use that. They would have to give me another tube at that point. Start the draw over, pretty much.
Gotcha. But in this case, the tube's
Everything filled. There's 2 tubes that was needed to be filled, and both tubes filled with no problems.
And you did that for 2 vials?
Correct.
And then you had testified earlier that there's a preservative in that tube. You saw it in this case.
Correct.
And what do you do to the tube in relation to the preservative once the blood
You
is drawn?
invert a few times. Like you don't sit there and do this. You just invert it, back and forth, so it all is mixed in.
Okay. Did you do that in this case?
Yes.
And both of these tubes, they were drawn in accordance with the procedure on the checklist?
Correct.
And they're drawn in accordance with standard medical procedure?
Correct.
And you said you filled out the labels on the tube?
Yes.
After you get done, you take a look at the labels and you confirm that?
Correct.
And those were both, in this case, labeled with the name of the patient?
Yes.
The date?
Date and time.
And your initials?
I believe it's initials. It's not my signature. Signature's on this paper, so yes.
Okay. And you did that right in the room, correct?
Correct.
Right with the defendant next to you?
Yes.
So you get called down to the ER. You don't work down there all day?
No.
Is there a physician in charge of the emergency room?
Yes.
At ProMedica Monroe?
Yes.
And was there a physician in charge that day?
Yes.
Once you've done the draw, you've inverted the tubes, you've labeled the vials, what do you do with them then?
You put them back into when you pull them out of the box, there's this, compartments that you put them in so they don't crack to each other because they're glass tubes.
Right.
So I put them back in that, put them back in the box, and give them to the deputy. Or actually, I don't put them in the box. I just put them, and they put it in. The deputy puts it in the box.
Okay, that's generally
just to
how you do
verify everything is correct too.
Okay, so I think we can go to cross now because he is going to try and discredit her.
This lady?
Yes.
Okay. And did she bring you to the courtroom?
Yes, well, outside the courtroom, correct.
Okay. Was anything discussed about the case?
No.
No?
Never spoke to anybody. No, nothing more.
Okay.
Will he be crying again?
Now, you stated that you work for the hospital, correct?
Correct.
And you still work for the hospital, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
This was in
And then
Monroe
there's two
County
types of
in
blood
Michigan.
draws. You said a regular blood draw, and then what is the other, a legal blood draw?
It's called a legal blood draw.
Okay. And you, in your profession, can do a legal blood draw, or at least the hospital wants you to do the legal blood draw, am I correct?
Yes, I can do them, correct.
Okay. And then do you do regular blood draws, or do nurses do that? I'm going by my memory as to what you said earlier.
Yeah, I draw the patients, the regular, the only difference is regular is they're inpatient or outpatient, you know, or they're in the emergency room. The difference here is that a deputy is present in the room. That's the only difference. They're all blood draws.
I'm a little bit confused. I'll just ask you. When somebody gets brought in with a deputy or a legal blood draw, you handle those type when you're working?
Correct.
Okay. And if it's a person that's getting medical treatment, a nurse, registered nurse, whomever of a nurse, does those blood draws?
Correct.
And you're not a registered nurse?
No.
Or a nurse at all, correct?
No.
Okay. What does it take to become certified of your profession?
You go to school.
How long do you go to school?
I went for a year. Other people can go less or longer, depending on.
It's like full-time?
Yes.
Okay. And then do you get a degree or a certificate?
I got registered. I got a certificate, and then I get registered with the state.
Okay. Do you have a degree of any type? I mean, in other words, it's not like a 2-year degree or anything like that, right?
No.
And you received that certificate or license about, did you say, 10 years ago?
Yes.
And have you worked in a hospital setting for the full 10 years?
No.
How long have you worked at your current hospital?
Yeah, I've been with paramedical for 10 years, correct, but I haven't been in a hospital setting the whole time. I still do outpatient, is what I'm saying.
How long have you worked at your current hospital that you're at today?
I'm going to say for the last 2 years.
So about a year before this incident, correct?
Correct.
And do you work sort of a little bit hand in hand with nurses?
Yes.
And they've got the blood put away? They have blood for patients. Do you know where they keep that?
No.
You have no idea?
No, we send it to processing.
Okay, so when you want to give blood to a patient that needs it inpatient.
I don't give blood to anybody. That's what I'm saying.
Have you ever seen any nurses go get blood for somebody that's inpatient that needs blood? You've never seen it in 10 years?
No.
Do you remember, this happened April 20th of last year, 2024. Do you remember all the details of this specific incident of you working and drawing blood with my client?
For the most part, correct.
How many times do you think you've drawn blood in your profession since the 20th of April, 2024?
At least over 5,000.
5,000
within the year, correct.
Okay, 5,000 since April 20th of 24?
Of 24, at least.
That's amazing. I mean, it's a comment, but it's amazing. 5,000. And you remember each and every single one?
No.
That's amazing.
You said that, well, do you remember specifically, in this case, that day, looking in the tube to see what was at the bottom of the tube?
Not at the bottom of the tube, it's throughout the tube. It's like a
Do you remember specifically looking at it, in this case, on that date?
Yes. I look at them, yes.
Do you keep notes?
No.
You just go by your memory, right?
Correct.
And when you said that you invert the tube, is that what you said?
Invert, correct.
Okay. And when we saw the video, we saw a video yesterday.
Okay.
And I believe it showed you that you inverted or you tilted.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony
What happens? Okay, so guys, right. I've checked multiple channels and that happened, right? It got cut off just as he's asking her about the inverting of the vial. Something scandalous must have happened. And Marco, you weren't there for that bit. You're sacked. Maybe he wept. Maybe he ran up and kissed her. There were 2 cameras in the courtroom. Yeah, but You find me a feed that's got it. Sketchy. Yeah. Well, the blood draw has been admitted. Everything's been. It all got allowed in. Everything got allowed in. No, he wasn't there that day. He wasn't there. That was day 3. He wasn't there. Am I going on and stream in a bit? I don't know. Maybe after this. What's she talking about today? Yeah. So I don't know, but all I know is that it all got allowed in because then later there was the expert that talked about the actual findings, and she let in the finding about the blood alcohol content being 0.18, which came from that vial. So yeah, the BAC testimony, which is this, we'll get to that now. So we'll just skip straight to the BAC testimony. Oops, where did it go? I had it a minute ago. Oh, there it is. So go straight to that.
Hand that back to you. If you could just read into the record the results of that report that you obtained from doing the blood alcohol concentration analysis on the defendant's blood.
So my result was 0.180 grams of alcohol per 100 milliliters of blood.
So what folks would commonly refer to as a 0.18.
Yes.
Do you know what the legal limit for alcohol is in the state of Michigan when operating a motor vehicle?
0.08.
Thank you, Ms. Faust. Ms. Faust, are you familiar with the term elimination rate as it pertains to alcohol in a person's body?
Yes, I am.
And just explain to the jury.
Why is it with me?
So the elimination rate is the rate in which your body can get rid of alcohol, because ethanol is something that the body doesn't actually like. So it tries to get rid of it, and there is average elimination rates for both males and females.
And what?
Maybe have a sidebar, please.
Sure. Right.
I can't find my tab. Where are you all? Okay, I'm so lost right now.
We know. It's okay.
I can't find StreamYard. I can't find where you all are.
Go to another tab, and at the top doesn't say go to StreamYard or whatever?
No, it's like, oh, man. Okay, hang on. I'm going to go in and that doesn't work.
So, did you conclude your answer? What elimination rate is in the body?
There's a little more I would like to add.
Sure.
So the elimination rate is per an average person, but there's a lot of factors that go into it that can change it. Like if the person had eaten, the person's height, weight, things of that nature will affect the rate per an individual.
So this is, there's an accepted number.
Okay, so sorry, I wasn't paying attention. Did she say 0.18?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, sweet. All right. Let's move on. So, okay. Get this. He tried to get a directed verdict. Want to watch?
Yeah.
Yeah. He tried to get a directed verdict. What the hell?
Yes, Your Honor. It's a motion for directed verdict with regard to the proofs the court heard, all the proofs of the trial testimony.
We still talk about proofs.
Your Honor, we ask that the directed verdict of not guilty be based on the counts based on, well, the first is that the alcohol testing was had acetone, and acetone is fermented, actually could be deadly.
Okay, I'll just tell you because we didn't watch the whole thing, right? But when the expert who tested the the blood came up and showed the graphs and things, this attorney decided that because there was a little blip on there that showed acetone, which is like nail polish remover, in her bloodstream, he questioned her and made a really, really big deal about this acetone in the bloodstream and said, oh, well, the results aren't clean, right? And the expert said, okay, for there to be abnormal amounts of acetone in someone's bloodstream, there needs to be 100 times that amount, right? So we don't even start reporting it until it gets to like 1% rather than 0.02% or something that's in there. So she said like several times that means nothing, but he kept talking about it, right? So he's decided to latch on to this idea that there's nail polish remover in her bloodstream, and that has tainted her blood test. Taint, right? Because he's really got nothing at this point. It's just there's nothing. The whole thing with the inversion of the blood vial, that's been discredited. He hasn't been able to bring in the thing with the doctor and the pill mill. There's nothing. He's got nothing. So yeah, that's what he's talking about here.
Solve it sometimes on, which in my opinion, it produces inaccurate results. I understand totally that the expert said that those were accurate results. Number two is that the search, that the warrant was not proper, and I know arguing this, but I'll just refer to our prior arguments. I did do a rehearing motion that dropped off. I can't roll things in because it was a late hour. Yesterday, dropped it off on the board with regard to the prosecutor that signed and approved. So there was ex parte communication there, knowing that I was representing.
That's a big accusation.
We asked that be stricken. And also, it being, we argued this before, so I just refer to our prior motion and ask for a directed verdict based upon part of that reason, is that it was private property membership only. Anything with alcohol would be excluded. Thank you, Your Honor.
Wow.
Thank you, Judge. As to Mr. Clovis's last 2 points, those are motions that have already been decided by the court and ruled against. I don't think those are valid bases for a directed verdict. As to the first tenet of Mr. Clovis's argument, that's for an expert to say, Judge. Mr. Clovis's opinion doesn't merit the court's time in that.
There was one and I apologize. There's been no proofs whatsoever that there was any type of specific intent or any type of intent by my client, which is required for second-degree murder. Thank you.
All right. You can address that.
I'm sorry? All set now? I'm all set. I apologize. Yes.
So, judges, as to our response, people have established date, venue, and the ID of the defendant. Beginning with counts 3 through 9, the court was able to view the body-worn camera from Sergeant Fomia, Deputy Karina. Defendant acknowledged her operation of the vehicle in both videos. The blood and gabapentin came in without objection. They showed the defendant's level of intoxication at a 0.18. They also show the presence of gabapentin at 1.3. The court would have to refer to the report for the numerical value. The medical examiner's report, which were both stipulated exhibits, established the cause and manner of death for the victims, Zane and Alana, that both died as a result of multiple blunt force trauma as a result of a car collision. The medical records, which were stipulated to, and beyond even that, the stipulation that the named victim's injuries rise to the level of a serious impairment under the statute. Those were stipulations. So for victims Diane Medina, Ed Smothers, J.B. Phillips, Mariah Dodds, and Leah Stiff, those are all stipulated to as the result. So you've got operation, intoxication, date, venue, and the resultant injury. There's also ample evidence of causation, but for defendant's operation of the vehicle, none of those things would have happened. So for those reasons, people think they've made a sufficient showing on counts 3 through 9. As to counts 1 and 2, people incorporate the proofs previously noted.
Well, he said proofs too.
Victims died.
Maybe it's a Michigan thing.
Actions. The people have established for the court that the defendant knowingly created a very high risk of death or great bodily harm, knowing that death or such harm would be the likely result of her actions. Specifically, the defendant possessed a blood alcohol content of 0.18, the legal limit being 0.08, the high BAC limit or super drunk limit being
super drunk.
The defendant acknowledged to Deputy Karina that she believed she was a 7 out of 10 for intoxication. Maybe more importantly, though, is that she should not be driving. In the Michigan Supreme Court case 1998, People versus Goki, the Supreme Court found that there were certain factors that a finder of fact may consider to support a charge of second-degree murder. And they relied somewhat on the Michigan Appellate Court case of People v. Aldridge, in which a defendant operated her vehicle at an excessive speed. In that case, it was 45 miles an hour in a parking lot, and excessive speed was held to be a factor that the finder of fact could consider in determining second-degree murder versus a different type of charge.
Hey, Serena.
The defendant left the scene of a property damage accident in this case. That was the crash she caused by backing out of her driveway. In the unreported case of People versus Del Piano, it's a 2012 case by the Michigan Court of Appeals. It can be found in Westlaw 304-6157. That case found leaving the scene of a property damage accident prior to causing a death to be a tenet that the court could use to determine that second-degree murder is supported. And finally, Judge, the Gecki case, the Supreme Court case, notes that in all cases of this nature, in order to sustain the intent element of second-degree murder, the incident should have an overall egregiousness factor. Here, people point out the defendant's high BAC, not only twice the legal limit, but above that. Also, the gabapentin in her system. She acknowledged to Karina she was intoxicated, scoring herself a 7 out of 10. She left her home in that condition, knowing she was traveling to a small child's birthday party. For those reasons, Judge, people think they have satisfied the intent element for second.
All right, thank you. Last say so, Mr. Clovis.
By analogy, I argue, is somebody sees a yellow light, and this is in relation to intent. Somebody sees a yellow light, they choose to speed through the yellow light, and there's a crash, not stop. That's intent, and that would be the type of intent in this case. It lacks any intent because she didn't choose to do, whatever they claim she attempted to do is murder somebody.
It's not murder one.
Absolutely not. If anything, that's the furthest of what took place. She didn't even understand what happened, whether it be spasms or whatever.
All right, thank you. So the court is required to review all of the testimony that's been taken in the light of, in favor of the prosecution, making a determination whether there is a sufficient case to send the matter to the jury to make a decision. Let me address some of the preliminary issues. First of all, the testimony and everything we saw, it's clear that this happened in an area that was accessible to the public. In fact, taking a look at those photos, you really can't tell where the road stops and the parking lot begins, but clearly it is all accessible to the public. Second of all, the question regarding the warrant, I ruled on that yesterday. I acknowledge receiving what was called a rehearing, but the allegation was made that an attorney from the prosecutor's office had ex parte communications with the magistrate. That is a serious allegation, and without any support, I find it's a reckless allegation.
Wow.
And when I take a look at what was attached as an exhibit, prosecutors sign off on these all the time. In fact, every one I've ever seen, the prosecutor signed off on. This prosecutor signed off the day before the affiant signed it. There's nothing in here that shows there's been any contact whatsoever with between the prosecutor and the magistrate. So that leaves us really with the charges themselves. what I consider one of the core issues as it pertains to the second-degree murder charge. The elements, as it pertains to both children, is that the defendant caused the death of those children, that they died as a result of the defendant knowingly creating a very high risk of death or great bodily harm, knowing that the death of such harm would likely result from her actions, and by driving while intoxicated or recklessly under the influence of alcohol or gabapentin. Second, that the defendant had one of these three states of mind. She intended to kill, which is the intent question that defense raises. She intended to do great bodily harm. Or the third one, she knowingly created a very high risk of death or great bodily harm, knowing that death or such harm would likely be the result of the actions. And I do find that the testimony supports all of the elements for second-degree murder. The Goki case is exactly on point. We have an overall egregiousness here, at least the argument will be, and certainly it's for the jury to decide. We have a blood alcohol of 0.18, which has been admitted. The issue of the acetone, that's for the jury to decide. We have a high BAC. We have the use of gabapentin with the alcohol. And then we have the video showing the defendant backing out of her driveway and running into the neighbor's car. Maybe that should have been the time to kind of keep an eye on things, but then charging forward all the way through the building. As it pertains to the operating while intoxicated causing death, the elements are different, but it has to do with the intoxication, and clearly the evidence is in, at least for the jury to decide that she was operating with an alcohol content of 0.18, further that it caused the death of both Zane and Elena. As to the other charges, those are all operating while intoxicated causing serious injury. I've mentioned the intoxication, I've mentioned the operation, and there's been no contesting of the injuries. For all of those reasons, a motion for directed verdict.
Denied. Okay.
Bring the jury in, please.
Okay, that was the weakest ass attempt I've ever seen at a directed verdict.
Yeah.
That was lame. All right, so what we're going to do now is for the defense's case, what he did was he brought in a waitress from Verna's Tavern, which is where she went for lunch before the incident happened. And they actually closed down Verna's Tavern that day because they were concerned, like the law enforcement were concerned that they were at fault for giving her too much alcohol. But later it was discovered that she only bought one glass of wine there. Yeah, lucky them. But he subpoenaed the waitress who waited on her that day. So we're going to just have a look at the court TV clip for that. But that also, because of the fact that the defense attorney went down this route, there was some other video that the prosecution decided to bring in as well. So we'll have a bit of a look at that too. So let's go.
The dozens injured. Prosecutors say that Chidester was drunk when she crashed into the boat club and her blood alcohol level was twice the legal limit. In police body cam video, she did admit to drinking, quote, a little bit. She also told police she has a history of seizures and would pass out. A witness for the defense testifies she did not serve the defendant more than one glass of wine on the day she had lunch at a restaurant just moments before that fatal crash.
I got her a cup of white chicken chili.
White chicken chili?
Yes.
Did she have a sandwich or anything?
No.
Okay. Do you have, my clients informed me that she had a fish sandwich or something, but that may not be true, or you just maybe don't remember?
It was not on her bill.
Oh, okay. And was there any alcohol on her bill or a pop or anything else?
One glass of wine and a water.
Did she seem like she was intoxicated?
No,
Would you served her if she was intoxicated?
absolutely not.
The defense is expected to call 2 more witnesses. Then court will move on to closing arguments tomorrow. Chidester is facing 9 charges, including...
Yeah, okay. So, great. You got that in. That's fantastic. But then this happened. Don't show this instead. You gotta go, Dolly?
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I gotta
That's all right.
head to bed.
Okay,
I will
see you.
talk to you later.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
We're watching this case out of Michigan where testimony is coming to an end in the birthday party murder trial. In April of 2024, Marshella Chidester crashed into a building south of Detroit, killing 2 kids who were inside at a birthday party. More than a dozen others were injured. Police say Chidester was intoxicated at the time of the crash. Let's go back into the courtroom now. We've seen a lot of evidence of her. She bought booze the day of. It was the day of the incident. She showed up at 9 a.m. to a liquor store and got some wine, 4-pack of these small glasses or small bottles of Pinot Grigio and a bottle of Cab. Then now we've heard testimony of a bottle was found in her vehicle, an empty bottle. And more bottles were found at the house, empty bottles, those small ones. Well,
okay.
Now we have another witness who apparently has some video. Let's watch.
H-O-O-P-E-R. Thank you, Judge. Sergeant, you testified previously that you executed a search warrant on defendant's home. Is that correct?
Yes.
And when was that done?
That would have been Monday. I believe it was the 22nd of April.
Sorry. You testified that you found some cameras and a DVR recording system?
Yes.
Did you find any cameras inside the home?
Yes.
And how many cameras were there?
1.
Where was it located?
In the kitchen area.
In the kitchen area. Were there any were you able to locate any recordings from April 20th of 2024?
Yes.
In the kitchen area camera?
Yes.
And did you have a chance to review those videos?
Yes.
And did you find the timestamp to be accurate on those or similar problem as the other ones?
Similar with the other one. Again, if it was an hour behind. So if it said 3 o'clock on the timestamp, it would be 2 o'clock.
Did you make a copy of these videos?
Yes.
And you viewed them, correct?
Yes.
Okay. You reviewed what's purported was people's proposed exhibit 38A through 38F?
Yes.
And are these all of the recordings from inside the home?
No.
Just pertinent to the case issue?
Correct.
Judge, I'm going to move to admit people's 38A through 38F.
Response.
Yeah. Who puts cameras in the house?
I'll move to proper next, Judge.
All right.
All right. Can we play 38A, please? 1 second. Don't play it just yet. Detective, can you, for me, tell me what the date and time is on this?
So the original date and time is 4/20 of 2024 at 8:24 and 47 seconds in the morning.
And so that would actually be what time?
9:24 and 47 seconds.
A.M.
A.M.
Okay. Please play the video.
Why have cameras in your house? Wow, self-fiction. Yeah, I suppose, Kylie. No one will steal my wine.
Please play 38B. Or actually bring it up. Detective, what is the timestamp on that?
9:24 and 38 seconds a.m.
What would be the accurate time then?
10:24 and 38 seconds a.m.
Please play the exhibit.
Wow.
Please pull up 38C. Detective, what's the timestamp and date on this one?
9:45 and 12 seconds a.m.
Also from April 20th?
Yes.
So what is the accurate time then?
10:45 and 12 seconds a.m. on the 20th.
Please pull up 38D. Detective, what is the date timestamp on this one?
April 20th, 2024, 11:35 and 1 second a.m.
And what is the actual time, accurate time?
12:35 and 1 second, and that would be p.m.
Please play the video.
Okay, let's get a break. But first, Jessica Ehrlich, what do you think of that? It looked like she had the bottle in the left hand. Maybe they'll have a zoomed-in view for the jury.
Yeah,
but
what do you think of that? Okay. All right, so we watched the best part of the closing arguments. That was, what's his face, talking about how he was allowed to take his attorney jacket off and talk about how he was so sorry for the victims. But yeah, I put a link to the closing arguments in chat. Prosecution was actually pretty quick, but the defense attorney went on and on and on and on about the acetone. We're going to look at the guilty verdict, or sorry, to give it away. But then, more interesting than closing arguments is the defense attorney and his ramble to the media afterwards. Do we know who installed the cameras? Don't know. Okay, so let's get into that. Where are we? Guilty verdict. Sorry, verdict. Didn't want to give it away. Did not want to give it away, guys. Oopsie. Because we're all shocked, I know.
The jury find as follows. Count 1, guilty of murder in the second degree of Alana Grace Phillips. Count 2, guilty of murder in the second degree of Zaid Isaac Phillips.
We begin with breaking news out of Monroe County. In less than 2 hours, jurors had a verdict in the trial of Marshella.
2 hours.
Chidester drove her car into a birthday party last April, killing 2 children, injuring 14.
2 hours.
Chidester was found guilty on 2 counts of second-degree murder, 2 counts of driving while intoxicated causing death, and 5 counts of driving while intoxicated.
Okay, blah, blah.
Watching the live stream here and heard some crying in the background when the verdict was read. What was Chidester's reaction?
Chidester didn't really react from what I could see. Her head
think
was
she
down.
probably
Family
knew.
members of those who were injured or killed during the crash started to cry.
Yeah, okay. That's what we got.
Multiple forensic scientists to prove her blood alcohol content was more than twice the legal limit.
All right, let's go over to here. So, did they sentence her yet? No. No. But here's the thing, she's kind of old. And this is what the defense attorney said. Defense, Chidester is so old, you may as well sentence her to life. Well, that's not very kind.
Of 12 jurors, and I'm sure they looked at all the evidence and everyone's testimony, and they decided the case. What's troubling is so much social media and other media was covering this, that it's a small community. And can you truly get a fair trial?
Everything's a small community.
Even though people may say, I can be fair, the judge says put it aside. Can you really get a fair trial when you're looking
Oh,
at
thanks,
the
darling.
parents of 2 children that died. Can you get a fair trial, especially in a close-knit community? So my client's devastated, and we knew that it could go either way. And we'll forge ahead. We certainly will be filing an appeal based upon the rulings of the trial court in not suppressing certain evidence under the law. We're not trying to hide evidence. Evidence under the law
Look.
should have never
There
been
it is.
present because it's unreliable. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to follow through with that. When do we expect the appeal to be filed? Within the next 60 days.
A lot of new evidence came out today. What did you think about?
Okay. Thank you, darling, for the 2 gifted memberships. That's really sweet of you. So we just saw, hang on, we just saw a bit of that body cam, which I couldn't find. I knew the body cam existed, I just couldn't find it. Okay, so see the lady, she has the vials. Do you see her inverting them? Or do we get to see that?
Hide evidence and not suppressing certain evidence under the law. We're not trying to hide evidence. Evidence under the law should have never been present because it's unreliable. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to follow through with that. When do we expect the appeal to be filed?
Did she throw a nail polish remover in there?
60 days.
A lot of new evidence came out today. What did you think about?
It was on day 2.
Well, it wasn't a surprise. I was aware.
It was like prepping.
There wasn't any real testimonial evidence, just a video or videos.
Yeah, she did it.
Which even if you looked at the videos, what is it going to show? Is it going to show that somebody consumed enough to be a 0.18? And so it's to the jurors' interpretation of what they think happened during those hours. What does it look like? And it was edited. It was cut and paste and put together during certain hours. So certainly we think it's unreliable. The judge allowed it in. I have to respect the judge on all his court rulings. When you lose 8 out of 10 motions, I still respect the system, but I also will file an appeal and let the Court of Appeals or Supreme Court make a ruling and judgment on what the judge did.
Did you expect such a fast verdict?
No. I never expected such a fast verdict of,
I did.
Is it less than 3 hours?
I think less than 2.
And, you know, they say quick verdicts are not good for somebody that's charged as a defendant. It's not quick. So that also concerns me that, did they truly deliberate? Was there already a decision in their mind?
Yep.
And it's just, you know, the end justify the means. Was it that somebody's going to pay, or the defendant's going to pay for the 2 children that died in that car went in the building? Let me get, you know, one little example is I have a relative that said, without knowing anything, before even the blood came back, results that they allege, said, well, her car went in the building, so she's responsible. It's not a strict liability crime. And I respect the jury for what they had before them. Some of that evidence, we say, we filed motions, was unlawfully obtained, unconstitutionally obtained. Acting that way can violate a lot of people's rights, including you and I. You know, that saying that when they come for you and come for this person, that person, you don't say anything, but when they come for you, then all of a sudden you say something. So it was very apparent with the court. I have respect for the judge, but it was very apparent that this was a one-sided case. This was going to be.
Wow, strong words, saying of course he respects the judge, but this was a one-sided case. We want to hear more of what her defense team has to say. We're going to pause it. When we come back, we'll get you back in.
An Iowa man. Wait, hang on. Is there more? Is there more? Is there more? Come on. Oh, there we go.
Ends from all, there's going to be a conviction. When you lose 8 out of 10 motions, and they weren't frivolous, and it all dealt with constitutional issues, every one was no. Denied, 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 denied. Been doing it 39 years. I never had motions denied like that.
Did you move specifically to get that video we saw today excluded?
Yes. Yes.
Will you have a chance to talk to the jurors?
We could, or I could ask. I'm not going to. I'm not going to. You know, they've gone through a lot, and probably one of the last things they want is one of the attorneys to come in. I'm sure they're extremely emotional. I could tell when they came out that they couldn't make eye contact. And during the trial, I had a lot of eye contact. There was no eye contact at all. In fact, they looked down. I don't think they were happy that they had to deliver a verdict. Not at all. But they felt inside they needed to.
Was Miss Chidester surprised by the jury's verdict?
My client knew going into this case that the jury, to pick from the jury the people.
Those of you that wanted to go to the clerk's office, just stand.
It would be that it would be tough to do because they're so tainted.
So
the community's
tainted.
I'm not saying you get tainted automatically. When you talk to somebody and you say, oh, 2 kids died. Oh, what happened? Did the car go in the building? Yeah. Oh my God, she's got to be guilty of something. So, did she? We had many heart-to-heart conversations, Marshella and I, very many heart-to-heart, including today. And she was well aware that certainly could go either way or split. Our most important issue was the murder 2 charge, because with 2 murder 2 charges at her age, you might as well give her life. Might as well give her life. And she was aware of what could happen. And she was aware that if it's an early verdict. And, you know, she stayed strong.
Thanks, Paul.
And you know, just real quick.
Well, he can't shut up, can
She's
he?
been out on bond. And a lot of people were saying, listen, her age, her sentence of multiple years if found guilty, just leave. Just leave and not come back. And no, she stayed. And she faced up to it. She faced up to it. But a lot of people were saying, is she going to take off and go to a non-extradition country? Nope. No, she stayed. And that says a lot about her. You know, whatever you may think, it says a lot about her that she stayed here.
It says a lot about her that she didn't flee.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Are you goddamn kidding me? What? What? Sir! It says a lot about her that she didn't go to a non-extradition country. What? I have never heard anyone say anything like that. This bit here. I've always thought that this is actually the worst thing for her because, well, there's two bad things. Firstly, there's the there's a CCTV of her smashing into a car as soon as she gets out of her house. So she could have stopped then, right? But then there's this.
If you cannot afford to hire a lawyer, while we appointed to represent you for any question if you wish, you can decide at any time to exercise his rights and not answer any questions or make any statements. Do you understand what I just read to you? Yes. Okay, do you wish to speak to me?
Pardon?
Do you wish to speak to me? Like, do you want to?
No, I'm good.
Like, do you want to talk or not?
I'm just hoping no one was hurt.
Yeah, sure. So can I talk to you?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Run through the medications that you told me about again.
Gabapentin. I have a whole list of medications. I don't have them on me right now.
So list of medications in your car?
No.
Okay, so what happened today? Where were we at today?
I went to lunch with some friends.
Okay, about what time was that?
Noonish.
Okay, so remember you went to lunch. Remember what you ate?
Yeah, I had some chili and a fish sandwich.
A fish sandwich? Okay. Where was that at?
At Verna's.
At Verna's? What did you drink there? Did you drink water, pop?
I had a glass of wine.
Just one glass of wine?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so one glass of wine at Verna's. After that, what happened? Did you leave at noon? Where did you go?
Came home.
Okay.
I just live right down the street.
Okay. What's your address?
6260.
60 on Bearside?
Yeah.
Okay. So you get home. What do you do when you get home?
I just came home and just kind of chilled out and was waiting for my husband to get up and make me a nap.
Okay. Did you drink anything else there?
No, I didn't even get a drink down here because I never made it this far.
When did you take your medication?
8 o'clock.
8 a.m.?
Yeah.
Okay. Other than that chili and the fish, is there did you eat anything else today?
No.
Okay. Okay, and then where were you driving to?
Just from Verna's to here.
To here? What were you coming here for?
To here.
Oh, so you're going from Verna's to home?
Yeah.
And you left Verna's at noon?
Yes.
Okay. But then you said you went home first?
I'm home here.
Oh, okay, so you were trying to go from Verna's to home?
Yes.
How long were you at Verna's then?
Maybe an hour, not even that long.
Okay, so you made no stops between Verna's and here?
No.
And when did you go to Verna's again?
About noon.
About noon. Okay. Okay.
Oh, hang on.
Okay. Do you remember what happened when you were going around here?
No, not really. I pulled into the parking lot and I thought I was driving up to the boat club and evidently I was driving right to the pavilion.
Which direction did you drive?
So I live right down the street.
Okay, so you were coming from that way?
Yes.
You live right down the street.
To the parking lot, what happened?
I don't remember.
You don't remember?
I don't remember.
Okay. Do you think there's a reason you don't remember? Did something happen or?
You know what? I have these seizures and
Okay. Do you have anything where it says like maybe that, is the doctor permitted to drive and everything?
I'm cleared to drive now and I don't have my purse with me, but I do have a card in my purse.
Okay. When's the last time you had a seizure that you know of?
March.
In March?
Last month.
Okay. So in March is the last time you remember that you had a seizure.
This was like only an hour or so.
Sorry, I'm just trying to get this. Did you be hospitalized for it?
Yes.
You were?
Yes.
Okay. Was that you did like at home or something?
No, I was in Monroe for 4 days and Toledo for 6 days.
I'm sorry, did you have a seizure while you were at home? Or did you have it?
I had it at home, and then I did have one when I was in the hospital.
When you were in the hospital? Okay. And March is going to be the last time you had that seizure?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Do you think, is your normal behavior when you have a seizure, is it have lapses of memory?
Yes.
Like that? Okay. So once you got to the parking lot, you don't remember anything?
I don't.
Okay. Okay. I think that's all the questions I have for you now. Deputy Schmidt's gonna take the over from here, okay? Is there, so on a scale of 0
This bit.
to 10, 0 being like you're stone cold sober, you can drive perfectly, 10 being you're passed out drunk, where do you think you're at right now?
7.
A 7?
Shit.
Okay. Do you think you're okay to drive?
I wouldn't want to drive.
You wouldn't let you drive?
No.
Okay. Okay, just give me 1 second, okay? Sorry, my phone's ringing. I think it's gonna be my boss.
That is bad, right? Okay, so that's bad. That's really bad. So she said, like, after the smash, she said that she's a 7 on a 1 to 10 drunk and that she doesn't think that she could drive right now. She said that. That's really bad. And the other thing that's really, really bad, guys, is this. This is her on her way, like outside the front of her house, on her way to the party. I had to find this. It's tough to find. Backing out, backing out, backing out. Boom. Boom. Dust cloud. After fleeing the scene of the accident, where she rear-ended the parked car of her neighbour Marshella Chidester, allegedly drove approximately 500 feet and plowed into the side of the Swan Boat Club, killing 2 children. Whose car was that? That's her neighbour across the street. Okay, so the whole thing is available. You've got to, well, actually, no, it is all available on, hang on, let me show you where it is. Court TV did not stream the whole thing. You can get the whole thing on WTOL 11. So yeah, they streamed it. Actually, I can put the playlist in chat. I can do that for you. I would run the whole thing, but there's just not enough people interested. People aren't really interested in watching it. So there you go. There's the whole playlist for you if you want to watch. And plus, and if you want to have a look back, we did some of the pre-trial hearings as well. So yeah, you can deep dive it. It's pretty interesting. The thing that I found quite interesting about it was just that she had this seizure issue, right? So she was on medication, and there could have potentially been some sort of defense for her. But this footage of her actually saying flat out to the cops, "I feel like I'm a 7 out of 10 and I can't drive." That was stupid, right? So that should have been suppressed, right? So if she had a good lawyer should have had that suppressed. So she would have been in shock and disarray at that point. And she even said she couldn't remember anything after driving in. So therefore, there should have been some way of suppressing that that testimony, you would think. But he was not a very good lawyer. He should have been able to get that suppressed. And so if that was suppressed, and then the stuff with her doctor, and with the blood alcohol, I don't know. I don't know what he could have done about that, but I do think this thing with the seizure and the legs going into a spasm, and that's why, because it does seem like it wasn't just a drunk driving incident. It does seem like she actually was stuck. Her legs were stuck in that position. Don't you think? Like drunks tend to sway like this, whereas she seemed to actually have been, and even from the way she walked, her legs were so stiff. It seemed like she was just boom stuck in that position. So, but her doctor couldn't testify because her doctor was indicted, right? So it feels like there's a lot of information missing here. I still think that she is guilty, But I still think there was some sort of defense here. It could have been a far more interesting legal case, but her lawyer just, I don't think was very good. Really don't think he was very good. It was multiple substance toxicity, potentially. Yeah. Two things can be true at once, and I'm not convinced defense followed the right trails. I mean, she flat out told the officer no to talking, and he ignored her. Yeah, there's that. She said no, but this is the thing: people just don't stick to their guns, do they? They go, "Oh, I don't want to talk," and then they talk, right? But the cops need to be more professional. They need to respect people when they say, "I don't want to talk." They need to stop questioning, right? And they don't. They keep harassing people. Like, you have a right to silence, and when people express that, that should be enough. They should walk away at that point. Right? So I know she's guilty. But cops have to, law enforcement, prosecutors, they need to go by the book, because if they don't, a good lawyer is going to come along and they're going to wreck it. A really easy, solid case, they're going to wreck it for them. Right? So this chick could have walked. Not really. But yeah, I mean, like Luigi, for example, really easy case, but he's got fantastic lawyers working for him. And if they went and messed up search warrants and things like that, that lawyer's going to absolutely nail them for it. You have to shut your trap after you say no. Yeah, you do. But I mean, really, if they don't cross their T's and dot their I's, it's really simple for a good lawyer, a really good defense team, to have things suppressed. Assuming that the judge is also playing by the book. But anyway, it's been very interesting. I have put the playlist into chat for you. There it is there. If you want to dive further into this, thank you all for being here, and people on replay as well. Make sure you put your comments in. It helps the channel. And yeah, we'll be on to something else tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow. Tomorrow is my Wednesday. So yeah, I should be able to stream tomorrow. I am about to go over to my mum and help her, because she still doesn't have power. She's been without power for like 2.5 days. And yeah, it's a big drama. But at least the roads aren't flooded anymore, and I can drive. So that's good. All right. Thank you, Patty. Lovely to have you here. It's your Thursday, is it, Mavka? Are you on another planet? Say hi to Mum. I will. And Kylie, you're absolutely right. It shouldn't be on the defendant to know the ins and outs of the legal system. You are absolutely right. All right. Lovely to have you all here. And time for the song.
Her name was Ella. She was an Aussie. She was a fake lawyer from the future. She got on YouTube and made some live streams. The co-host is Donnie and she dances sometimes. The words are always so loud, and because she's an 803. To the attention, excited utterance. Her cat is staring from where he goes missing.